Welcome to the live stream. Will this be the last live stream ever? Will this be the best live stream ever? Well, hopefully the answer to one of those questions is yes, and the other is no. I'll let you be the judge as to which is which. No, so a few different things. There are major developments, what I would characterize as major developments in the YouTube advertiser boycott, and I'm going to talk about that. If people, by the way, if people are getting ads at the start of the live stream, please let me know in the chat, okay? That would be important for us to know, and this relates to a lot of the different stuff that's going on. This may be the last live stream for a little bit because we are starting a David Pakman Show vacation soon, and the timing of it is not ideal because I feel some people will think because of the YouTube ad boycott that the show is ending because we're not going to be doing new shows for about a week soon, but that's not the case. It's just coincidental timing, and that's what's going on. Okay, ad, no ad, ad, no ad, no ad, no ad, no ad, no ad. One person got an ad, another person got an ad, another none. Okay, that's interesting. A little bit later, I'm going to try using this button I have called Play Ad, which is supposed to just very briefly interrupt the stream with an ad. It was not working 5 days ago. We'll see if it's working today. I'm going to get to... I think that these are major developments when it comes to the YouTube ad boycott, although I wouldn't call them completely great developments, but they're developments nonetheless. Okay, if this is your first live stream, or even if it's not, number one, yes, it is really live. I'm here doing it live, assuming that it's 8:31 p.m. Eastern Time on April 11th, 2017, the year of our Lord. If it's any other time, then it's not live, it's the replay, but it's just as good. It's really just as good. Number two, Super Chat is on. You can use Super Chat to send questions and comments. I will read them on air. And some people like that, so that is available to you. Number three, new members and patrons get live thank yous and thanks yous. I need to fix that. Thanks yous and shout outs during the stream. Membership is at davidpakman.com/membership. Patreon is at patreon.com/davidpakmanshow. Two different ways to support the show. And number four, we do have moderators. Obvious trolling and hate is going to get you banned. If it's not obvious, if it's not obvious trolling, then it might not be detected as trolling at all, and you're probably okay. All right, so that's sort of the summary of what is going on here. What else did I want to touch on? I guess I'll just jump right into it, okay? So we've been dealing with the YouTube advertiser boycott since March 31st. Now, this is sort of confusing because we don't get, as a YouTube producer, we don't get data about YouTube revenue until 2 days after the day. So in other words, this morning, April 11th in the morning, we got data from April 9th. The ad boycott started on March 31st, but I didn't learn about it until April 2nd. So April 2nd, which was a Sunday, is the day that I immediately went live and explained what was going on, and it's been, not exactly up or downhill from there. It's basically been the exact same thing. So as a result of a few corporate media articles being written in which it was alleged that there's this big problem on YouTube where ads are being served in front of just blatantly racist and offensive content, YouTube has basically put in place an insanely strict ad filtering algorithm. And the idea would be that you would have an algorithm that can learn over time and can figure out whether, just because the word Syria is said, for example, doesn't mean you're necessarily supportive of gassing children, right? Just because the word anti-Semitism is used doesn't mean that you are anti-Semitic. So that would be the ideal way that one of these algorithms would work. Unfortunately, it hasn't been working that way, and it has basically completely shut down all ads on our channel. And as a result, we've had to immediately go into a mode of sort of, okay, this is a crisis. This is something that is a sort of existential threat to the David Pakman Show. If we don't replace the ad revenue, ad revenue from YouTube is representative of, represents anywhere from 40, at a minimum of 40, up to, on a really strong YouTube month, like February, for example, was a huge month for us, 55% of our total revenue. So it's a big deal, right? And as a result, we had to do a couple different things. One thing we did was we've been pushing membership more aggressively, okay? And for people who don't know about membership is something that we've had for a very long time on the show, dating back to 2010. You go to davidpakman.com/membership. You pick either a monthly or a yearly plan. You hit the red sign up button, and then if you want, you can enter on the second page of the sign up the coupon code IVoted17, which gives you a 40% discount. And we do a whole bunch of extra stuff for members, right? So we have a members only bonus show every day, commercial free audio and video streams of the show, a whole bunch of different stuff. So one thing we did is we just more aggressively started pushing that, but also to make it clear that because membership has been around for 7 years, just hearing about membership might not communicate the urgency of the situation to a lot of people. So we also started a Patreon fundraiser at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. Now, this particular screenshot is from the last stream I did a couple of days ago where we had 1,014 patrons. As of right now, we have 1,233 patrons, okay? So this has continued to grow. We usually set a goal for one of these streams, and I'll tell you what that goal is up front before we get into politics, just so we can try to get a jump on it, because we don't always make the goal. The goal is 1,300 patrons, okay? If we get to 1,300 patrons during this stream, I will create a new coupon code that I won't mention anywhere else on any of our content other than on this stream. It'll be good until midnight, and it will save you 55% off of membership, okay? So even if you just donate $1, it counts. Patreon.com/David Pakman Show. All right, I think that's where we've gotten so far. Now, here is where the new information is. I have been speaking regularly with different people at YouTube. Most of the people I've been speaking to at YouTube have been, how can I say this, less than particularly helpful. However, my persistence paid off in a sense, in that I was finally able to speak to someone at YouTube who could talk in something other than a form letter or talking points. And as a result, I explained what was going on. It genuinely seemed that some of the, I'm not always the best person at reading whether someone is lying or not, but it genuinely seemed to me as though the people I was speaking to at YouTube were really surprised about the impact that this was having on my channel, on secular talk, etc. Okay? So we had that conversation, and I provided a lot of different data that I won't get into to YouTube. But the anecdotal good news is I've started to get some reports that sporadically ads are playing on our channel. Now, I need to really set expectations here, because there's been questions coming in saying, David, is it possible all the ad revenue will come back? Of course, it's theoretically possible, but based on, I want to figure out how to word this so that I'm not saying something that wasn't told to me. I'm inferring, based on everything that I've read, seen, and been told so far, that the best case scenario is a return of a fraction of the ad revenue that we lost. This is because even if the new ad filtering algorithm is improved from where it is today, there is a desire from advertisers for more control over the content on which their ads appear. And as a result, it's my sense, this is me speaking, nobody else, my sense is that it's not likely that all the ad revenue will come back. That being said, I've been starting to hear that some ads have come back. So let's do a couple different things. Number one, I just pressed a button that says play ad, and supposedly this will show an ad to some people on the live stream now, all right? So don't comment if you didn't get an ad, because I'm guessing that's most of you. If you are getting an ad now, midstream, in the middle of the stream, let me know in the chat. Okay, this is one test that we're doing to sort of figure out if anything is sort of starting to loosen up with whatever it was, and it's still unclear, that has completely shut down all of our ads. So one person, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people said that I was able to trigger an ad midstream. That's a good thing, okay? Now, if you can tell me what the ad was for, that would also be useful. And if you want to start putting that in there. So I've been texting with Kyle Kolinsky from Secular Talk. I've been talking to people at the Young Turks. I've been talking to people at all sorts of shows. I talked to Sam Cedar from Majority Report, et cetera, et cetera. No one knows what this means. I mean, no one knows what the context is within which all of this stuff is happening. And so the fact that today we saw a few ads, I genuinely don't know what it means, okay? But any data that anybody can provide, and we have a thread going on our Reddit discussion forum called "This thread is for reporting what ads are showing on our YouTube channel." That should probably be which ads are showing on our YouTube channel, right? I should correct that. I don't like having incorrect grammar. In any case, the point is, it would be great if you can go onto our channel, ideally in a different browser. So like if you're watching the stream in Chrome, maybe pull up our channel in Firefox, or even, I know this is crazy, but Internet Explorer, if you even have it on your computer, and see what ads run. If you look at 20 ads and ads run on 2, that's useful to know. And participate in this thread at davidpakman.com/Reddit called "This thread is reporting which ads are showing on our YouTube channel." That would be really, 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 really useful so we can try to track what's going on. Okay, people are starting to ask about the thumbnail for the stream, okay? And for people who missed what that is, this is the thumbnail for the stream, and I want to explain this because this is not just an accident that took place with electricity or something I did under the influence of some kind of drug. This picture is something that, if you follow me on Instagram at david.pacman, you would have known about over the weekend, and this is merely an example of what happens when I don't use product to control my hair. Now, I have not sold out to big hair, and by that I mean not like my hair is big, but to large hair product corporations. So I'm not going to be stating what product it is that I use. But in any case, when I don't use a product, this is what it looks like. And this has led to pretty significant fallout. Some people have threatened never to watch the show again after they found out that this is my hair in an uncontained, uncontrolled state. But it also led to a whole bunch of memes. So here's one related to the YouTube ad boycott that came up. And there's a couple other images that went in. This one's okay. It's not the best, but it's at least it's an idea. But we've actually taken this picture and we're doing something around this picture. What we're going to do is, if and when our Patreon fundraiser gets to 2,000 patrons, and right now we're at 1,233, so we're more than halfway there. 1,235 actually, a couple more people patronizing during the stream. If we get to 2,000, I will do an entire show in studio. With the hair the way that it looks in this picture. Okay, so that is, if that's something that you're interested in seeing happen, then you can donate at patreon.com/davidpakmanshow. If that's not something you're interested in seeing, that's no big deal. You can just listen to the podcast the day that we do it and still contribute at patreon.com/davidpakmanshow. All right, so many exciting things going on. I want to get to the super chat. I see that there's any number of super chats that are building here. Before we do that, let me jump in and just do some quick thank yous. First, Patreon patrons. John Brockman has pledged $2 while we've been chatting. Thomas Brufak, I have a feeling I might have pronounced that last name incorrectly. Crack myself up sometimes. Pledged $2. And Jennifer Lipka has pledged $2, which gets us to 1,235 patrons. Also, a number of new members. Joan Thoreau Richard Lang, Mary Amabile, Dan Romo, Philip Lowery, Anthony Agugliaro, and Sandy Carr have all signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. So keep those coming in. I'll keep doing the thank yous for the duration of the live stream. Let's get into super chats and see what's on people's. Yeah, a lot of people, by the way, reacting to what it might have been. Brufach. I really don't know how that last. It looked like Brufach. That's what it looked like to me. Okay, Fabio Fontes has sent a €2 super chat. Slongshots a €2 coin at David's forehead. I guess he probably meant slingshots. Okay. Jacob Ball. Oh, Thomas Brufach. Oh, Thomas Brufach says I said his last name right. I guess it is Brufach. There you go. Jacob Ball sent a $2 super chat inquiring whether his super chat was the first super chat of the day. And unfortunately, the super chat asking about super chats was the second super chat of the day. Joseph Bayan sent a $5 super chat saying, I got an ad from a mobile game. Congratulations to Joseph. That is a really, really good thing. GTA Fan 15 sent a $2 Canadian super chat saying, should Kyle switch secular talk to testicular talk? Listen, if the filter is having a problem with secular talk, I can only assume the filter is going to have a problem with testicular talk. That's my idea. I don't know. Syria sent a $5 Canadian super chat. In my opinion, corporate media is trying to take control again and is threatened by independent media, possibly linked to the Trump administration. I actually don't know that I agree with what most of Syria is saying here, but I don't know that the Trump administration link is the most relevant part because I've been doing some research, and as it turns out, if you look at, so YouTube TV recently launched, and this is sort of a replacement to cable television. If you look at the channels that are included, I think it's like 35 or so channels that are part of YouTube TV. Most of those channels are owned by 3 companies, and they are huge, big media companies. And that is what I think is really at play here, more than the Trump administration, because even corporate media has not been super friendly to Donald Trump since January 20th, although they gave him billions of dollars in free coverage during the election. Okay, John Eagle, let me just depart from the super chat briefly. John Eagle just posted something interesting in the chat saying GHOTI is pronounced fish. This is a reference to something we talked about today on, I think it was on the bonus show, where I explained that you could construct, because of how the English language is, you could construct a way in which GHOTI would be pronounced fish. And if you Google GHOTI pronounced fish, you'll see it. It's pretty interesting. Jason D. Mike 42 sent a $2 super chat. No comment or question. Maurice Mondesire sent a $2 super chat. Kevin Bragdon sent a $2 super chat saying one word, buzz cut. Buzz cut. You know, people have been asking me, what else might I be willing to do? Hey, you know what? I'm going to do something. Whenever I do these streams, I get a call from a restricted number, and I wonder if it's someone on the stream. Hello? That's interesting. It happens very often that when I do live streams, my phone, someone starts calling every 15 seconds from a restricted number. And I've never picked it up because I've assumed it must be someone who has my number but is watching the stream and is trying to distract. And I just picked up and they immediately hung up. That's very, very interesting. Well, if it happens again, I'll try to pick it up and see what's going on. Kevin Bragdon wants a buzz cut. Yeah, buzz cut's not happening. Noah M. sent a $1 super chat. Frank Taylor sent a $3 super chat saying, love your show. All right, so thanks to everybody for the super chats. We will get back to them. There's a few topics I want to discuss and people that have that have asked me to comment on a few different things. Number one, did I see, so today Sean Spicer, after we did the show, or at least after we finished pre-production on the show, Sean Spicer said something sort of basically saying, even Hitler didn't use chemical weapons, referring to Bashar al-Assad. And people have been saying, well, Sean Spicer is saying that Bashar al-Assad is worse than Hitler. I think Sean Spicer is a fool who has destroyed his career. by starting on day one of the Trump administration with lies about the inauguration crowds, making himself look like an absolute and total idiot. I actually don't care that much. I mean, Bashar, even Hitler didn't use chemical weapons. Chemical weapons are horrible. As far as I know, Bashar al-Assad is not doing weird experiments on twins and medical experiments and just really vile and depraved stuff. So to play the sort of who's the worst dictator game, the same way that playing the oppression Olympics, what's the most oppressed group or what's the most egregious instance of oppression or racism, it's not particularly useful. I think if we've learned anything, it's that beyond any doubt, Sean Spicer is some kind of fool for continuing to do this. And I'm not going to be commenting on that too much. The other thing that I've seen is that it's been some defenders of the Trump Syria strike, and I've been pretty clear that I believe that the Syria strike was bogus, not because I don't think that using chemical weapons on your own people is absolutely horrific and deserves consequences in the sort of big picture. That being said, the way that it was carried out, as I've now talked about on 2 live streams and on yesterday's show, was completely haphazard as far as Donald Trump's actions are concerned. It's not it doesn't matter what the goal was. It's not going to achieve anything other than letting Bashar al-Assad know that if he uses chemical weapons, that it's going to get attention of the world media. And, they were using that same runway airport the next day. I mean, it just basically made no sense at all. But it's been floated that, well, listen, we did some damage and nobody died. It's not true. 9 people died. Nine people, including 4 kids, died as a result of the airstrikes that Donald Trump ordered, those 59 Tomahawk missiles. So I don't know where I'm hoping that it's ignorance and not deliberate sort of exclusion or ignoring of data that we have. But if there's sort of 2 hypocrisies. One, that if Trump was motivated by the videos of Syrian children dead as a result of what Bashar al-Assad did, his reaction doesn't seem to have actually stopped Syria from carrying out whatever they want operationally. They started using the runway the next day, and it actually killed 4 kids. That's weird. And the other hypocrisy is that if Donald Trump believes that there are innocent people in Syria worth defending from the ruthless dictator that is there, how can he not believe that some of those people are worthy of refugee status in the United States? And we're not talking about every single person or open borders or anything like that, but it seems hard to see as credible these 59 Tomahawk missiles as humanitarian action when Donald Trump doesn't believe the people that he's trying to help, I guess, with the Tomahawk missiles are worthy of refugee status in the United States. It genuinely makes no sense to me. So there's no shortage of hypocrisies. Now, let me address something else. False flag operations. There is so much to talk about here. And before I even do that, just to get a few things out of the way so we don't end up with too many, Michael Rainey, as well as Maurice Mondesire and Danielle Trump, have become patrons at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. We are targeting 1,300 patrons by the end of this stream. And if that happens, I will create and announce a 55% discount code for membership. We're at 1,238. We're trying to get to 1,300. That means we've got 62 to go. Also, new members signing up. Thomas Majeski and Maria Romero upgrading her membership. Thank you very, very much, Maria, for that. Okay, let's deal with the false flag stuff, all right? And I've got to give some background here, so I'm glad we have some time to dig into this, more time than we might on the broadcast show. I did a segment on a Friday. Let me look at the calendar. I think it would have been the March 31st show, actually, and it might have even been the March 24th show. But I did a segment called This Would Be the Perfect Time for a False Flag Attack. And what I meant was not that I believe that Sandy Hook was a false flag attack or 9/11 was an inside job or whatever. But what I meant was we know that at times of either being victimized by terror or at times of military intervention, we do tend to see presidents, at least initially, have significantly high approval ratings. We saw it with George W. Bush around the 9/11 attacks, and we have many examples which I cited that day. And what I said was, Donald Trump would significantly benefit from either a terror attack or some kind of shock event where the U.S. rallies behind Trump, blah, 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 blah. Most people understood what I was saying. I wasn't being a conspiracy theorist. I was merely saying that this is something that Trump would likely benefit from. A few days later, Noam Chomsky basically said the entire thing. Watch out for either a terror attack or something along those lines. I don't remember the exact phrasing. And then a lot of people thought I got it from Noam Chomsky. I genuinely didn't. My video came out several days before that. So now this happens, right? And immediately you have people starting to throw around the term false flag. And people are throwing it around about different things. There are some who believe that the initial chemical gas attacks, the sarin gas, chemical weapons attacks supposedly by Bashar al-Assad, are the false flag. In other words, that someone else, not a rebel group, but I don't know who, someone did these sarin gas attacks to provoke a response against Bashar al-Assad, which of course is going to wrap in Vladimir Putin, who's been supportive of Bashar al-Assad and the current Syrian regime, blah, 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 blah. That's sort of one side of it. There's another side, which is it's not a false flag per se, but rather that Trump's reaction is a carefully calibrated sort of PR stunt to appear to distance from Putin, given the Trump-Russia scandal that's going on. And possibly, the funny thing is, these are conflicting theories. One is that it's to distance from Putin. The other one is, well, the idea is that you're setting it up for Putin to get more involved in Syria, maybe not directly against the U.S., and raise his profile on the geopolitical stage. It could be both together in some way, right? And again, these are not my concepts. These are those that other people are emailing me about. I think the most likely of all of these scenarios is there is nothing well-crafted or calibrated about this. This is the same haphazard, erratic Trump that we've seen since decades ago, but certainly during the Obama administration and certainly during Trump's campaign and certainly since the election of Trump and certainly since January 20th, right? And that it doesn't really tell us anything more broadly about Trump's foreign policy or anything like that. It also, I don't believe, tells us anything about the Russian situation. In fact, we keep learning about more and more lies told by Trump associates regarding Russia, including the dozens of meetings with Russian associates that Jared Kushner failed to disclose on the application for his national security, top secret national security clearance. So anybody thinking that there's a really detailed, at least in Trump's mind, plan for all of the repercussions and he's playing some, three-dimensional chess or whatever, I don't really see it. Or as vegan producer Pat Ford said, four-dimensional chess involving the fourth dimension of time as well, which I liked. I don't think that that's the case. Let's jump back into the super chats a little bit. Getty Germany sent a €5 super chat. Can you tell me something about the Kansas outcome? I don't get it. The Republican won with half the votes the Democrat got. Gerrymandering so extreme. I did not see those results yet. So I would not be able to comment. $5 super chat from GR. Cogent, adjective of an argument or case. Clear, logical, and convincing. Sometimes GR use words good. Spicer wears flip-flops to dinner. There you go. Couldn't say it better myself. $2 Australian super chat from Clarth1234 in Spanish. This is the new thing. Hola, te vimos en la discordia, D. Pacman. Yeah, so I think Clarth is referring to the Discord server that has been set up in connection with the David Pacman Show Reddit discussion forum. So we have a discussion forum at davidpacman.com/Reddit that now has over 3,300 of our viewers and listeners participating. And one of the things that you can get access to there is the David Pacman Show Discord server, which is an actual, like, real people talking to each other type of discussion. And people are telling me that it's absolutely great. I got on there the other day for like 3 minutes and then I had to go. But I will be back. I will. Okay, Fisty McGooface sent a $2 super chat. Is GOP more likely to impeach for midterm distance? Okay, fair question. I've been saying for a while that most Republicans will support Trump so long as his approval rating doesn't dip into the high 20s and stay there for a while. At that point, support of Trump in their districts will start to become a liability. All 435 members of the House of Representatives are up for re-election every 2 years, meaning even though they just had an election, they've got another one coming up very, very soon. And it's just going to be an act of self-preservation for them. I mean, if they start to think that it's time to denounce Trump for their own gain, they'll probably do it. And of course, Donald Trump, as he often does, will threaten that you will lose big and he'll help other people defeat you if you don't support him. But I think that it's going to depend on the polls. Fisty McGooface. Starla Imac sent a $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Sharice Walker. That's a name I recognize. I live in Tennessee, and it has gotten to where I don't even try to rationalize with Trump's fans. Thanks for all you do. I have a couple videos on this, Sharice, that you should check out, where I talk about, is it even worth trying to convince Trumpists about anything other than what they already believe. Jane Woman Power sent two Canadian dollar super chats. Syria sent a $5 Canadian super chat saying, I don't know if fake or not, but Eric Trump told The Telegraph that Ivanka had some influence with the attack. Fake or pointing fingers? I don't know about pointing fingers because I don't think that Eric Trump sees it as a bad thing. I mean, his dad did it, and I think he probably sees it as a good thing. Fake, I wouldn't describe it as fake either. It could be distorted. There was such an example of why the headlines don't tell us what we need to know. A bunch of articles 48 hours ago, roughly, started going live saying, China agrees that military action is now appropriate on North Korea. And it was all based on a Rex Tillerson quote. And when you look at the quote, you see that Rex Tillerson said something like, I think and I believe China also agrees that we are getting to the point of needing blah, 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 blah. The and I think agrees makes it so that the headlines were bogus. So there's actually no record of anyone in the Chinese government saying that, yeah, we think military action on North Korea is needed now or will be needed soon. And this is why you've got to go past the headlines. Gloomskull of Orbase sent a 100 Norwegian kroner super chat. Whatever the case, does the Syrian strike mark a strategic realignment within the Trump administration towards Russia? Is Trump now finally on board with the intelligence community and Pentagon? Significant disagreement. So here's the thing, Gloomskull. What you're positing is possible. I've seen no evidence of it yet. I've seen no evidence so far suggesting that there has been an actual realignment between Trump and Russia, and period. I mean, I've explained it. I've explained why I don't think that in yesterday's 15 or 16-minute video. I am open to the idea that there is a realignment coming, but I don't believe we've seen evidence of that right now. Baron von Datatron has sent a $5 super chat with no question or comment. Thank you very, very much. Okay, let's get an update. We are targeting 1,300 patrons at patreon.com/David Pakman Show by the end of this stream. We are now at 1,241. This screenshot is old. We are at 1,241. We have 59 new patrons to go. If we hit 59 new patrons, then I will create and announce a 55% discount code for membership. Okay? A few new patrons to say thank you to. Roger Wigrin, Alfredo Pina, Larry Stewart. Thanks to the three of you for signing up. Also, of course, memberships continuing to come in. The coupon code IVoted17 gets you 50% off. And a big thank you to Judith Brown, who has signed up. And there was one other name here, Brittany Price, who has also signed up. And before I move on, Matt Studwell pledging $2 on our Patreon, which gets us to 1,242. So we're 58 new patrons away. If we hit that during the live stream, I will, just for you, I will create and release a 55% discount coupon code, and it'll be, I mean, just tremendous. I truly can't imagine anything more tremendous. GR sent a $2 super chat. Who takes this foreign money to be exchanged? Pat. Yes. So listen, no matter what currency the super chats come in on, YouTube, I think, just converts it for us. And we don't have to do any kind of currency conversion. Okay. I have another opportunity to say this name correctly. Thomas Brufak sent a $2 super chat. If Trump unilaterally declares regime change on ... Okay, I don't get it. It seems like there's something missing there. Maybe it's coming in a second super chat. I don't know. But that's interesting. Clarth has sent another $5 Australian super chat. I see what's going on here, by the way, with the Spanish super chats, but I'm okay with it. All right. Pat, bebiendo 4 dimensiones Keurig. También porque TYT no se ha dirigido al boycott. Okay, so there's a few different things going on here. Is Pat drinking 4 dimensions of Keurig, which it's clever, but it doesn't really make sense. I'm wondering whether Google Translate is being used for this, so that syntactically it's odd. I'm not sure. Also adding, why has TYT not addressed the YouTube advertiser boycott? I don't know. I didn't know that they had or hadn't, I guess is what I'm saying, because I watch very little of other shows. So I'm not, I don't know about that. Okay, so we have part 2 of Thomas Brufak's super chats. Here's the entire thing. If Trump unilaterally declares regime change on Syria or North Korea, will Republicans be on impeach? Meaning, I guess, will they be up for impeachment? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of Republicans, I think, who maybe want some kind of regime change in Syria or North Korea. Not all of them are there's factions within the Republican Party. You've got a faction that is more libertarian-minded and isolationist, and then you have the neoconservative warmonger types. George W. Bush was one of those. And, you will have a contingent of the Republican Party that will like it and a contingent that will not. You'll have the constitutional conservatives, which will talk about authorization. And this is a story, if you haven't followed, you should definitely review. 17 of 20 major newspapers that did editorials about Trump's Syria strikes, 17 out of 20 were at least slightly in favor of the strikes or thought that they were a good thing. And that's disturbing, and it is absolutely reminiscent of the run-up to the Iraq War. So that is, we have to be cognizant of how there's a camp that's saying, if you, how can I put this in a way that will make sense? There are people who hear commentaries about the Syria strikes and say, feelings about Democrats, Republicans, Trump, whatever aside, we should all be able to recognize that most reasonable people are behind these strikes. It's insane to say that, but we can't ignore the importance of these newspaper editorials and corporate media being at least slightly in favor. The one newspaper, I believe it was the Houston Chronicle, that was against these strikes. They were against them because Trump didn't get congressional approval, right? So they're not even against them on the merits. They said, at least what they wrote was, Trump should get congressional approval. And then maybe they'd have a completely different position. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. And it is absolutely reminiscent of what we saw in the lead up to the Iraq War. Okay. People in the chat saying that the stream was just interrupted with an ad. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I think that's a good thing. Let me update. Okay, so big. If you're just joining us, there has been major news regarding the YouTube advertiser boycott. One of the pieces of news was we're still not making any money as far as the data through April 9th tells us. and it takes 48 hours to get data, okay? Anecdotally, we've started to see some ads pop up. There is a thread on our Reddit at davidpakman.com/Reddit where I've set it up so people can report what ads they're seeing and where you're located, etc. There's 3 posts there. One says someone saw a couple of different ads. They're based in the US and they were on videos from today, and that they got the ads on back-to-back episodes. That's good. Another user is in the Netherlands who posted saying that they got an ad on the live stream and that they saw an ad for a Dutch coffee company. That's interesting. It's always interesting to see what ads appear on our videos in other countries. And then we have someone else who said, what did she say? Reloaded the live stream twice and got 2 ads, one for a mortgage company and one for Grammarly. I went through 10 videos and got an ad on only one, Terror in Sweden, which is stunning to me. If anything would not be running ads based on this algorithm about violence and blah, 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 you would think that it would be a video about terror in Sweden. Okay, well, that is interesting. That is interesting, and it is interesting data, and we're going to continue following all of that stuff. Okay, a few more super chats here. Kurt Hardwood, $5. All lives matter. All right. Nell C, a £1 super chat with no question or comment there. Thank you very much. Let's do some Patreon thank yous. New patrons at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. We are trying to get to 1,300 patrons by the end of the stream. We have Doreen Harris, who pledged $2, Mike Albanese, who pledged $5, Rodrigo Morelos, who pledged $2, Brenda Tucker pledged $2, Yobi Graciano pledged $2, Jonathan Gomes pledged $3, Sophia Pang pledged $10, and John Yokachonis has increased his pledge from $5 to $7. This puts us at $12.49. I believe that this is doable. I believe we can get to 1,300 patrons at patreon.com/David Pakman Show before the end of the stream, which will trigger a 55% discount code for membership, which I will only announce to you nice people on the stream. So we will continue to follow that. I want to call your attention to a 20-something minute video that is on our channel about fake news. Okay, and this is a long form piece that was done with our segment producer, Noah Ferguson. I think it is some of the best work that we have done, okay? And you can find this, maybe after the stream is done, you can go over and check out what's going on over there. But I think it is definitely one of the best things that we have done in terms of our long-form investigations. It is called Do You Understand What Fake News Is? And it's just under 23 minutes long. I highly recommend it. I would absolutely go and check that out. I think it's really, really good work. The reactions to it have been positive, and I hope that we can continue doing work like that. And that's when this ad boycott honestly has bummed me out the most, because it's easy to just separate yourself from it and say, okay, listen, we'll do the Patreon, we'll push membership, we'll do all that stuff, and we'll make up as much of the money as we can. But then when I think to myself, think about the total number of hours across all staff that went into that 22-minute video. Research, scripting, narration, editing. I mean, it's a lot of work. And no ads run on it, and we make no money. And so that's why, even though anecdotally people are saying that some ads are running, that's really where I get bummed when I think about all the work that went into that, and most people aren't getting an ad. Pretty depressing. In the super chat, Andre Ribeiro sent a 10. I don't know what R is. I don't know what currency R is. A 10R super chat. Because of the square egg on a whole wheat bread painting. Just kidding. Keep up the good work. Oh, I see. Yeah. I've been doing a little more painting, and I got a book with like 30 small paintings that you can do. And one of them is a piece of bread with a pat of butter on it. And that's what that one is behind me. Usually my most recent painting is in the back there. Chrono454 has asked a really good question, which is, do you receive ad revenue from us YouTube Red folks? Yes, that we do, actually. And we put this graphic up on the show yesterday where there's obviously membership you can support the show through. You can support through Patreon. Please use the Amazon link. Whenever you think of shopping on Amazon, just type in davidpakman.com/Amazon. It'll take you to Amazon, and anything you buy will send us a kickback. But number 4 on this list is, if you have YouTube Red, watch our videos, because your $10 a month, I think it is, YouTube Red fee is sort of split up amongst all the people whose videos you watch. And then you can also get your gear at davidpakman.com/gear. So good question. Yes, absolutely. Okay. GR sent a $5 super chat. Similar to 2001 to 2003, while with Bush, we were urged to support having inherited such misfortune as 9/11, while Trump sought this out, un-American the same. Okay, it's still a little difficult for me to understand GR super chats, but I'm getting the general gist of it. So I appreciate that. Kurt Hardwood sent a $5 super chat. It's actually not among your best, I guess referring to our long-form fake news video. Your best long-form video is Reza Aslan cannot be trusted, as well as wait. Islam has nothing to do with terrorism? I said it's among the best. I didn't say it was the best, but I think it's among the best. David R., $2 super chat. David, what are your thoughts on the United Airlines story? Yeah, we had so much to talk about on today's show that we didn't even come close to getting to that. But yeah, there was a guy dragged very aggressively and injured out of a United Airlines flight. The flight was overbooked. They were asking the guy to get off. He was saying, no, this is my ticket. I'm on the plane, and he got dragged off. I have thoughts on this. Number 1, inappropriate. The way that the guy was dragged off, inappropriate, disastrous optics. I actually got in the mail, I don't have it here, but I already got in the mail a sort of like some kind of offer for a United Airlines credit card today. And it couldn't have been sent out directly in response to what happened yesterday. But what crossed my mind was they're going to be aggressively offering bonuses and all sorts of stuff at this point, because this has been so damaging PR-wise. That being said, if you're told that you have to get off the plane, I think you have to get off the plane, because I don't think that's a battle you're going to win if the airline has decided you're not flying on that flight. And I get it. You have a ticket. They overbook. There are rules about what you're entitled to if they overbook and in different situations. So I think it was insane the way that he was manhandled. I think it was a disaster for United. I think the response from the CEO was Oscar, I forget the guy's last name, was a disaster. But at the end of the day, the guy actually should have gotten off. They just never should have handled it in that way. Total and absolute disaster. Syria sent a $2 Canadian super chat. U.S. military headed to Korea. Good or bad thing? Yeah, we covered this yesterday, and I don't want to dig into it in huge detail, but I am genuinely curious about what is going to happen with the redirection of this naval fleet from exercises or a routine deployment to the Australian waters up to the Korean peninsula. And I'm going to be actually watching China. We heard bogus assertions made by Secretary of State Rex Tillerson about China being on board with military action. So far, we've not seen anything like that. But I'm interested in seeing how China reacts. Good or bad, it's too early to tell. What does good or bad even mean these days? Sophie Faraday has sent a $30 super chat. Please don't ever leave us, David. We're here. We're trying not to change a damn thing, and that's why we are fundraising at patreon.com/David Pakman Show and talking about memberships and doing what we can to investigate what's going on with ads, etc. A $5 super chat from RP Toomey. Hey, David, love the show. Any thoughts on Sean Spicer's comments on Hitler and Assad's use of chemical weapons? I talked about this at the beginning of the show, of the live stream. I'll very quickly restate, and you can go back after and rewind it for the full discussion. I think that Sean Spicer is just a fool, and he looks frantic and confused up there no matter what he's talking about. I think that the starting to figure out who's the worst dictator type of stuff is really lame and sort of pointless. Saying, well, Hitler never used chemical weapons. As far as I know, Assad didn't do weird medical experiments on people. So who's to say or imply that one is better, worse, or whatever. But I try to not pay too much attention to anything that Sean Spicer says beyond what I have to know to report on it, because it's just such unfettered nonsense, really. Okay. I think that, okay, good. So we're caught up on Super Chats. Let me catch up on thank yous. We've got a bunch of new patrons here. Jennifer Rodriguez, Roger Geisert, Gustavo Luna, Jacob Ball has upped his pledge from $25 to $50. Very, very cool. Arturo Alviar, Sean Mosby, and Ashley have all made pledges at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. We started the stream 2 days ago with 1,014 patrons. We are now at 1,255 patrons, and if we get 45 more by the end of the stream, I will release a 55% discount code for you. If you don't want to wait for that and you would rather just sign up for membership right now, if you go to davidpakman.com/membership, you can select any membership and hit that red sign up button. And after you do that, you will be prompted for a coupon code where the red arrow is pointing. You can enter the coupon code IVoted17 and get 40% off. If 40% off doesn't suffice, then you can wait a little bit longer, and hopefully we will hit 1,300 patrons at patreon.com/David Pakman Show, and then be able to issue a big time membership discount. Okay, Chris Harris has sent a $5 super chat. I immediately thought of the alt-right and Trump can't read segments. Yeah, we have a long list now, of long-form pieces that I think are really, really good. And the alt-right piece I think is good. The Trump can't read piece is not what I'd call a long-form piece that replaces an interview on the show, but that has done really, really well, and I think that that was a really good piece as well. Rain Man has sent a $2 super chat. For your information, there was an ad for stash investing on videos. All right, yeah, we're tracking. I genuinely have no idea what's going on with the YouTube advertiser boycott right now. We're sporadically seeing some ads appear, although I really can't tell you for sure what the bigger picture is that's going on. So any information that people can continue giving us is very, very useful. Giancarlo Duffy sent a $5 super chat. Giancarlo Duffy is like the perfect blend of an Italian and Irish name. That's interesting. I like it. Giancarlo Duffy says, will you ever have a Spanish language segment on your show? You should speak more Spanish on your show and in your videos. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the audience, I assume, on our YouTube channel is some overwhelming percentage Spanish speaking. And English speaking, and does not speak Spanish. So I think it would just kind of get confusing, and we'd have to start tagging and titling videos in Spanish. I don't know. It's something I've thought of because it could be a cool idea in some ways, but I just don't know how we could implement it in a way that wouldn't be sort of annoying for the 350-something thousand people that are participating in English, Noah Ferguson sending a $1 super chat. Now, I wonder if that's actually producer Noah Ferguson or someone who is sending $1 sort of because they like the fact that I mentioned that Noah Ferguson worked on the fake news piece. I don't know. But if it's the real Noah Ferguson, okay. Well, Noah Ferguson, welcome. We just need Pat to show up. And then I don't know what we would do then, because we would all be in different rooms, so we probably wouldn't be able to accomplish too much anyway. Okay, I want to call your attention to a couple of other things. We did another story today about Trump golfing, and the stories about Trump golfing are not really about Trump golfing per se. They're about the fact that Trump promised that he wouldn't be golfing, and he's golfing, broken campaign promise. They're about the fact that Trump criticized Barack Obama for golfing throughout Obama's presidency and now is golfing, so it's a double standard story as well. It's about the fact that the White House on multiple times was caught hiding the fact, some might call it lying about the fact, that Donald Trump was golfing. That is an issue of the White House lying. And number 4, it's an issue of fiscal conservatism. Trump talking about he would be fiscally conservative. These golf trips are insanely expensive, and Trump has already spent, you know what, I don't even remember what the ratio is, but Trump's already spent on travel just some just absolutely crazy amount. He spent roughly between a quarter and a third, more than a quarter, less than a third of his presidency at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. It's all absolutely crazy, folks. So the golf story is not about golf. The story is about hypocrisy, lying, broken campaign promises, and total and complete lack of fiscal conservatism. And that's why I think that it's a story that is interesting and worthy of checking out. Okay, Devin Nunes has stepped down as the chair of the House Intelligence. No, I'm sorry, that's not true. He has stepped down from the Trump investigation being done by the House Intelligence Committee. As far as I know, he's still on the House Intel Committee, which kind of makes no sense to me, because if he's been so compromised, and clearly he has, by his actions with regard to that one investigation, why are we to say, well, his ethics are only in question when it comes to Trump and Russia, and we don't have to worry about anything else when it comes to other investigations he might participate in? The fact that Devin Nunes has come to his senses after a House ethics probe started, by the way, into Devin Nunes, minutes before that he stepped aside from leading that investigation, clearly he shouldn't be involved in that panel at all. He actually, I believe, deserves to get voted out, and hopefully that'll happen in 2018, although not hugely likely, but I think that he needs to be out sooner than later. Let me say a couple of thank yous to Gene Digman as well as Miran Chowdhury, both of whom have signed up at davidpakman.com/membership, both of whom have used the 40% discount coupon code IVoted17. And if we get, I'm starting to be less than cautiously optimistic that we're going to get to 1,300 patrons before the end of the stream, because this isn't going to go on indefinitely, and we're at 12:55, and we need 45 more patrons in order to release the 55% discount code. So if you are interested in that 55% discount code being released, please, I wouldn't wait any longer. I would go to patreon.com/davidpakmanshow. And even if it's just $1 that you contribute, it's 1,300 patrons. It doesn't matter what dollar amount we're talking about. So I would do that sooner than later. And I would love to create that discount code. Dom has sent a 10 Australian dollar super chat. Considering how unreliable YouTube seems to be in terms of receiving a reliable revenue stream, could you ever see the show being hosted on a different platform? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been looking into. Let me put it a different way. I've not ruled out anything over the last 9 days during which we've been aware of the YouTube advertiser boycott. There's sort of a practical issue, which is even without YouTube making money, it still has a big audience for us. We get 12 to 15 million views a month. We've got 350-something thousand subscribers. And so if we went to another platform, I think we'd still need to be using YouTube to direct people to it. It would be a sort of complicated thing, okay? So we'd need to figure it out, but I am not ruling anything out. That is for damn sure. Baron von Datatron has sent a $5 super chat. The drums of war are growing louder, and the media is all too willing to peddle it. It seems inevitable. Do you believe Trump would employ the draft? I don't believe so. We have a really big volunteer army in the U.S., way bigger than we would need for the incursion into Syria if it were to exist with some degree of boots on the ground. More than likely, if we did an incursion into Syria, it would fire up a lot of people who would want to join the fight, and then military recruiting would accelerate even more. So I think we are very, very far removed from even discussing reinstating the draft in the United States. Dom following up with a $5 super chat. Greetings from Sydney. Love your work. Is it like 13 hours ahead in Sydney or 11? I'm guessing it's between 8:30 and 10:30 in the morning in Sydney. But what do I know? C. Sparky sent a $10 super chat. Does Alex Jones qualify for special needs services? Listen, I read it because you asked it. Not really going to address that in any significant detail. Garth Poulos sent a $2 super chat. No question, no comment, just sending a $2 super chat. Very, very good. We had a really interesting bonus show today. I don't know if you followed the story, but Congress passed, House and Senate passed, and Donald Trump approved a bill which now allows the previously banned activity of hunting hibernating bears in Alaska, hunting wolf cubs in wolf dens, and hunting from helicopters. I'm not vegetarian, but this is insane. And I think that if you hunt for sport, I already kind of have a problem with you, okay? But what is the sport in hunting a hibernating bear or wolf cubs or hunting from a helicopter? Like, what is the sport in that? And I completely respect communities that hunt for food because that's the food that they depend on and that's how their community feeds themselves. For example, there's some very northern in the north of Scandinavia, I believe, a number of island communities that can not grow produce, vegetables, cannot have agriculture for most of the year, and they hunt whales. And I've never eaten whale. I have no interest. I would not eat whale unless it was a very dire situation. But I'm okay with what they're doing because they have whale, and then it lasts them for the season, for the year, and that's how it works. Hibernating bears, and by the way, this is what Congress is spending time on. We've got just one disaster after another being perpetrated by Donald Trump, and this is what they're doing. I mean, it's just crazy. Jenny Jesser has arrived with a $5 super chat. Sorry I'm late. So ads are playing on the stream. Has something changed? Also, the kids say hi. We don't know, Jenny. Anecdotally, some ads are running, and we don't really know exactly what's going on. So we're still trying to get to 1,300 patrons at patreon.com/David Pakman Show by the end of the stream. We have new contributions from Nico, Roy Adam Rose, as well as Kiala Carr, and that puts us at 12:58. So we are now 42 away, and we've only got 10 to 15 minutes left on the stream. So it's going to have to keep accelerating if we're going to get there. Calvin N. sent a $1 super chat, and Matthew Reed sent a $10 super chat. Okay, because it's been a while since we started, let me sort of reset where we are. The title of the stream, The Last Live Stream or The Best Live Stream? I think every live stream is the best one. Every single one gets a little bit better. The Last Live Stream is a sort of double reference. One is, of course, referencing what's going on with the YouTube advertiser boycott, etc., all that stuff. But also, this may be my last live stream for a little bit because the David Pakman Show is about to start a vacation. And tomorrow, Benjamin Dixon, host of the Benjamin Dixon Show, is going to be guest hosting for me. And here's my promise to you. If major news breaks during the vacation, I will have my equipment with me and I will be able to stream. So worry not, I will be able to do that. Although it may be my last sort of in this setting stream with like a very a planned agenda, etc. So it's in a sense the last live stream, but my goal is obviously not the last live stream. Okay, Dumbass Loser sent a $5 super chat. Jacob Ball sent a $10 super chat. Is there a Patreon amount where you would consider turning off ads from your videos? It could allow you to make a powerful statement saying that you are entirely supported by your own community. The answer, Jacob, is yes. This is something we'd have to talk about internally, and it's not a conversation that we've had so far. But conceptually, if Patreon grew enough, we could absolutely consider saying we are turning ads off on YouTube and all of the related consequences that would come with it. William Peter sent a $5 super chat. Hey, David, love you. Why are there less left-wing, non-TYT channels on YouTube and more right-wing red pill YouTubers with much larger audiences? I believe that it's why are there fewer left-wing, non-TYT channels. That's not really where I was going. I'm kidding around. Although I'm serious, but I'm kidding. Not really a big deal. I don't know. There was an article recently written that Kyle Kulinski from Secular Talk and I got together on to sort of debunk, which argued that there are more right-wingers that are successful on YouTube than left-wingers. I don't know that that's true. I mean, The Young Turks is a huge channel. Steven Crowder and a lot of those channels have a lot of subscribers. But what I encourage people to do, if you want to evaluate the size of a channel, don't go by subscribers, go by views. Because you might put out one video, the video goes viral, you get 500,000 subscribers, and then none of those people come back. And what matters is monthly views. And as far as views go, the David Pakman Show channel is significantly bigger than a lot of those right-wing channels with more subscribers in terms of views per month. So I don't know that I agree with the premise. Okay, Jan Cutler sent a $20 super chat. Thank you. Kurt Hardwood, $5 super chat. Someone disagrees with me? Must be a fascist. Most of your audience. I don't think so. Kurt. I think most of our audience is really pretty open to respectful debate. I mean, really, you should see what goes on our Reddit discussion forum. Most people, in my experience, I think maybe there are very loud people who don't like hearing alternative views, but just because someone is loud doesn't mean they're necessarily representative of the majority opinion. I think there's definitely some self-selection bias there. Dumbass Loser sent a $10 super chat. As an older fellow, 51, I'm quite worried about a carrier group streaming towards North Korea and the Syrian conflict. Not seen anything like this in my life. Many people are worried. I don't yet know what it means. We talked about it yesterday, and we'll update the story as it continues. But we have to see what the bigger picture is. And as I said, I'm watching China to see what it is that China does. And what Rex Tillerson has said so far about China is totally bogus. I mean, it's totally not credible in terms of saying, oh, China also realizes it could be time for military action soon, later, sometime in the near future. So I'll be watching for what China actually says, not what Rex Tillerson says that China says. Quick update. I don't believe we are going to get to our 1,300 Patreon patrons. We are stuck at 1,260. So we are 40 away still. And we are starting to get to the end of this stream. What we do have is any number of people signing up for membership at davidpakman.com/membership with the coupon code IVoted17. Doreen Harris has signed up. Tina Guadagno, jeez, hope I didn't butcher that. I believe it's Guadagno, has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Thank you to everybody who has been signing up and continues to sign up in truly record numbers. I want to just restate, I really don't know what's going on with the YouTube ad boycott. I'm still getting reports that there is not... What am I trying to say? Most videos are still not showing ads for most people most times. And to be clear, it was never the case that every video shows an ad for every person. YouTube does have an algorithm so that you're not necessarily seeing every single an ad on every single video every time, because it would really interrupt the flow of your YouTube watching. But there should be, most videos should be playing ads if things are back to normal, and it doesn't appear as though we're anywhere near that. Clarth1234 sent a $5 Australian super chat, again in Spanish. David, a la gente que dona por Patreon no te puede escuchar hablar castellano. Podés darnos un video ahí en castellano. So this person is saying that Patreon donors can't hear me speak Spanish, so could I do a video on Patreon in Spanish? People are donating on Patreon right now and listening to me speak Spanish, I think, right? So I don't know. I mean, there are no Spanish videos other than this, and I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what it is that I can do, but I'm doing the best I can. GR sent a $5 super chat. Someone disagrees with me? That makes sense. Everything I say is pretty much nonsensical jibber jabber, and I am not an authority on stuff. GR. So GR has a very, very different approach to people disagreeing than the earlier super chatter had. And GR actually seems to be pretty open to people disagreeing with him, and that's a great thing to see. I genuinely think that that's a very good thing. Jonathan Benitez, Allison Gilbert, and Donna, as well as Steven, have made pledges at patreon.com/David Pakman Show, which gets us to 1,263 patrons. We are 37 short of the number that we've established, 1,300, at which point I will create and announce to you a coupon code that will save you 55% off of membership. I think I have to wrap at 9:45 because I've got a lot of stuff still to do tonight. 9:45 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, which is 6 minutes from now. So we basically need 37 divided by 6. It's roughly 6 patrons per minute for the next 6 minutes in order to reach that goal. This is possible. It's possible, but it's not hugely likely. Corngrolio has sent a $5 Australian super chat. Greetings from Melbourne, Australia. Our Prime Minister has drunk the Kool-Aid and has expressed support for Trump's missile attack against Assad. Sad face. This is what I'm talking about. The drums of war are being beaten pretty damn aggressively, and it is a serious problem. Also, I'm noticing a lot of people in the chat sort of shocked that I'm able to speak Spanish okay. Spanish is my first language. I think people are forgetting that. English is my second language. I have struggles in English still. I mean, I'm kind of kidding, but there are still some words where I just grew up and never heard them. So I was introduced to some words only when I was like in middle school, and I guess they're sort of like relatively new words to me. I don't think it should be that shocking. Chrono454 sent a $2 super chat in Spanish. Un canal en inglés y otro en español, porfa. Porfa, of course, is the abbreviation for por favor, or please. Chrono454 saying have a channel in English and another channel in Spanish. It could take years to build the channel in Spanish. And, one channel is kind of a lot of work. So I don't even know what it would take to simultaneously build 2 channels. And we'd need, Spanish-speaking staff to help manage that and all sorts of other stuff. And it's interesting. I like the idea of incorporating some Spanish stuff. I don't really know how to do it. Jacob Ball sent a $5 super chat. Someone read my super chat? That makes sense. I did pay for that. P.S. If you do Spanish videos, please include subtitles. Don't rely on YouTube captions. People are getting really, really far ahead of themselves about all of this Spanish stuff. John Rogers has pledged $1 at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. This puts us now at 1,264 patrons. We are 36 shy with about 3 minutes to go. Patreon.com/David Pakman Show. Can we get there? Okay. Andrew Duffy, a $6.69 super chat. David, you are fake news, and I demand you stop spreading lies that hurt America. I hope that was worth $6.69 for you, Andrew. Jane Doe has sent a $10 Canadian super chat. Hi, David. In your opinion, why is it so difficult for Republicans and Democrats to work together? What has happened? What happened to get to such a low point in politics? Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of things. It's, regular elections, lack of incentive to compromise with the other side when obstructionism is something you can tell your constituents, hey, I block Democrats or Republicans from doing X or Y. And there's very little incentive for bipartisanship, and I think that that's a big part of it. I would also recommend checking out, we recently interviewed Cass Sunstein, the great legal scholar Cass Sunstein from Harvard, about his new book, Hashtag, oh boy, I believe it's hashtag democracy. Cass Sunstein, hashtag book. I want to make sure I get that right. The book is hashtag Republic. You know what? I'm not able to pull it up and I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, his newest book is about political polarization and echo chambers and lack of real democracy. And it's really, really good. So he talks a lot about it. Really important topic. And I think it's important to understand a lot of what's led up to this. Mystic Resistance has sent a $5 super chat. I just saw an ad on your video on the North Korean crisis. What's going on? Is YouTube slowly turning around? I'm on Patreon, even though I don't agree with you 100%. Well, thank you. And I actually think that somewhere between maybe 10 and 15% of our paid audience, people on Patreon or membership, don't support us because they agree with us 100%. I think nobody agrees with me 100%. But some people are even ideologically moderate or somewhat conservative, but they understand that having this type of media outlet is really important. And what with everything that's been going on with YouTube, of sort of extra importance, because big corporations pulling their money out of YouTube and sending it to CNN or wherever, it's only going to have the impact of reducing the diversity of voices and the number of voices. And that's just a disaster. That's bad for everybody. So I appreciate the support of those who disagree with much of my politics as much as those who agree. And a few of those people are Josh Coleman and Ryan Klein, each of whom just pledged $2 each at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. But sadly, that gets us to 1,266 patrons, not the number we were looking at for a 55% coupon code off of membership. GR sent a $5 super chat. Remember, flip-flops are unacceptable footwear outside of leisurely aquatic activity and prophylactic antifungal measures in populous facilities. All right, the more you know. A public service announcement from GR. Reflection Eternal 2, how do we fix low voter turnout? That is a big conversation and not one we have time for here, but I've done a number of videos on it and I encourage you to check them out. Karen Hernandez, $2 super chat. Had to help you out before you end the stream. Thank you. And Kurt Hardwood, $5. Hey, Mystic Resistance, you should support Secular Talk on Patreon instead. Secular Talk is far less partisan than Pakman. I don't think Kurt Hardwood knows what he's talking about, but I appreciate the series of super chats. Mystic, you support whoever you want to on Patreon. Jacob Ball sent a $6.69 super chat. David, you are truthful news. You are truthful news. And I demand you continue spreading truth that helps America. And Giancarlo Duffy, $5. As a Spanish speaker, you have the moral obligation to reach out to so many more people. It would be amazing. Your following would double. Listen, you folks, you very nice people are influencing me about this. If we can set up a system where a handful of Spanish speakers could somehow help with the logistics of doing some Spanish language content, I'm up for figuring out a way to record a clip or two a week as a sort of test, okay? And this would have to be after the vacation, and then I'm going to be broadcasting from a conference. So we're looking at May at minimum for this. I'm up for exploring how we could do something, because I think what you're saying is interesting, which is there's probably a significant Spanish-speaking community that would be interested in hearing about American politics in their language. And Fernando Espuelas, who's I think he was born in Uruguay but lived in Argentina for a while. He does a show on Univision Radio in Spanish and English. He'll do interviews in English and Spanish, etc. In any case, I think there's something to it. You've convinced me, so I want to explore that. Let's see if we can figure it out. Mystic Resistance, $2 super chat. I support Kyle too, and I am a believer in God. And GR with a $2 super chat. Pac Deezy for Presideezy. There you go. If I've ever heard a better campaign slogan for me, someone who, by virtue of having been born out of the U.S., could never, under the current law, be president of the United States, That is quite a slogan. Sadly, we did not get to 1,300 patrons, but we got to 1,266, and I really appreciate everybody who contributed. Take advantage of the 40% discount. You can still do that, davidpakman.com/membership. Coupon code, I voted 17. Very, very easy to do. All right, if news breaks during the vacation, I will jump on a stream and hopefully continued good news about, the entire YouTube catastrophe that we're in the middle of.